Welcome to our behind-the-scenes look at Lux, the new Reckoners novel. I am Brandon Sanderson. I am an author of various sundry things, including the original Reckoners trilogy, a science fiction post-apocalyptic superhero extravaganza.
Hi, my name is Stephen Bowles. I'm the co-author on the project Lux.
And I am Max Epstein. I'm the editor and executive producer.
So Reckoners, the series started when I got cut off in traffic one day. And I had this moment in my head where I imagined that car in front of me exploding. I imagined I had superpowers and I blew it up because I was so frustrated. And I thought, oh man, is that what I would do if I had superpowers? Would I be blowing up cars for mildly inconveniencing me? That's a story idea. And so for the rest of the drive, I was thinking of this idea of a world where there was a superhero apocalypse. Supervillains existed, no superheroes, and ordinary people had to try to take them on and destroy supervillains on their own. I wrote 3 novels in that series, Steelheart, Firefight, and Calamity, and that wrapped up that series. And I always knew I wanted to come back and do some more. I wasn't sure what format that would be. Eventually, Max and I started an audiobook company called Mainframe. And one of the things we wanted to do is take some of these threads from stories that I felt were unfinished of mine and start tugging on them and see where they went.
And we thought that the Reckoners was the perfect place to start.
So, a few years back, I was playing Magic the Gathering with Stephen. We are good friends who like to game together. And I mentioned to him that I wanted to do this.
Lux takes place in Texas, and there was a trio of epics that got together and created this superpowered flying city that they scooped out of the earth of Texas and kind of created this floating paradise.
An epic is our term for a superpowered individual in this world.
Yes.
One of the keys about Lux is that you don't have to have read the original Reckoners trilogy.
Yeah, you don't have to have read. I always imagined these stories being about these different cells, and they're interconnected. If you've read the original trilogy, you will definitely find some things that connect, but really it's a self-contained story using the same premise, introducing all new characters.
And there are some fun Easter eggs that you'll find if you have read the original trilogy for sure.
I have been able to listen to the book in its entirety, and I was absolutely engrossed in what MacLeod had done.
MacLeod did the original 3 Reckoners novels, if you listen to those in audiobook, and so you will find his voice familiar, and we're going to let you get a listen to it right now. Here is MacLeod performing a little bit of Lux.
The outskirts of Newcastle were dusty fields and skyline. A dirt road, the only proof anyone had ever traveled in the direction we now drove. A few hundred feet off the main path, Prof pulled up next to an old pickup truck. Whatever the truck's original paint job had started as had long since weathered into some dusty shade of pigeon gray. Only faint memories of a deeper blue peeked through. A man leaned beside the truck's driver's side door with his arms folded and his feet crossed at the ankles. He wore a cowboy hat only a few shades darker than the dusty terrain backdrop. Prof stopped the car and gave me a serious look. Last chance to turn around. I gave him a small laugh. And go where? He shrugged. I'll drop you off anywhere you want. But if you open that door, there's only one road that truck is going to take you down.
One of Stephen's strengths is this first-person narrative. He's really good at it. He really can get you into the head of a character. And he pitched me on this character, Jax.
In Lux, he has a strong connection with the group that he's with. They have a family bond, and he fights to save that. And very early on, he decides that he is going to fight for a better world, not necessarily for himself, but for the other people in the world. One of the things I really liked about writing Paige was I liked seeing this early stages child become somebody who was incredibly strong, incredibly powerful, and somebody who really cared so much for other people.
With Paige, we have a character that has the potential to totally transform the Reckoners universe. Zeph is an old cowboy. And in a Texas Reckoners novel, you need an old cowboy.
I had always pictured him as kind of a Mr. Miyagi character if Mr. Miyagi was a bag of rusted nails.
You get this sort of mentor character sometimes in stories, and they tend to be just very aloof, they're like Gandalf, right? Gandalf knows everything. Zeph, you never get the sense he knows everything. You get the sense that he knows the specific thing he's teaching, but he doesn't even really know how to teach it very well. He just knows how to brute force information into people's heads, and that's the way he goes about it. This world is falling apart. Everything's in wreckage, and sometimes you need a bag of rusty nails to beat some information into your head. Everybody loves a floating city. This is something, a hill I will die upon. Floating cities are awesome.
I think it turned out wonderfully, and I'm really excited how Lux was shaped into existence. In some regard, it is this beautiful paradise, but from another light, you can see it as this undergrowth of rot and decay. My favorite part was there's an epic named Wingflare who has her own little compound of buildings, and you discover that it's a bunch of state capitol buildings and the White House itself that she has floating just off the edge of Lux. And I always thought that was pretty fun.
My favorite part of Lux is the whole floating city thing, if you couldn't tell. What's next for the Reckoners? There's always another secret. It's a mantra that I use for my books. I'm not going to tell you what's next, but there will be more.
Listen and find out.
And we're doing something kind of new here with these Audible originals that
Absolutely.
come out as audiobooks. And so it's a learning experience for all of us.
Sure is. We hope you enjoy.